time while we're trying to get to him. Let's move to talking about the Independent National Electoral Commission, and that's INEC's delineation in Warri Federal Constituency. We'll be joined by the immediate past Speaker of Warri South West Local Government Council, Emiko Odin-Etuwewe. He's joining us virtually. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get a backstory according to Dr.
That's going to become a popular term in the days ahead, backstory.
And try to background this conversation with the INEC's delineation in Warri Federal Constituency. Tell us a bit more about this.
Okay. The INEC delineation in Warri happened because of the Supreme Court's order, which ruled that INEC should conduct a fresh delineation in the Warri Federal Constituency. And on the 4th of April, the sketch work on the map that was brought by INEC to present the draft, like they say, on the field work was announced to all stakeholders, comprising of the Jaws, the Shekiris, and the Urubus. And to our very strong dismay, we discovered while they were doing presentation on the map that the Shekiri concentrated areas in the urban, especially Warri South, with large population, were not part of their focal points. They didn't display that on the map. Instead, they showed parts of the riverine area and also where the Jaws are dominated. The presentation also didn't show demographic population of the three tribes and how they were apportioned on the drafts. Also, the delineation towards the Shekiris attempts to create territories for the Urubus and the Jaws.
Okay, so this presentation regarding this delineation, I mean, you talked about stakeholders, wasn't it taken round for, I mean, the right inputs to come, not just from the ethnic groups involved, but, other groups to get a comprehensive report on this delineation, which probably would have left everybody happy and not leaving people like yourselves disgruntled?
Well, the INEC consultation and the engagement was not fair. They weren't fair to the Shekiri people. Perhaps it's occasion to the fact that it was the Jaws and the Urubus that made complaints and also, of course, went to court to obtain that judgment. So the Shekiris weren't really engaged as it should be. And this is, of course, not the first time that this is happening. It has happened in 2023 when the the High Court gave judgment in favor of the Shekiris that in Warri South, they should revert to the 10-ward structure instead of the 12-ward structure that they unilaterally created. But up to now, that has not been done. And that brings to mind why selective implementation of judgments, and also why the injustice in this delineation. Because I call it injustice because, of course, as it were, the delineation, as it were, a lot of fictions are in the drafts. A lot of ghost units are in the draft. So it shows a lot of anomalies and irregularities. I can go ahead to even discuss how INEC, went against their own guidelines that was, presented by Mr. Mustafa Kehinde on the 21st of March 2024 when INEC engaged the three stakeholders of Warri Federal Constituency in Asaba. So if you would allow me, we have wards in Warri South and Baramatu, which of course do not exist in reality. They only have presence on the drafts, the proposed drafts. We have names of Shekiri communities that were corrupted into Ijaw nomenclatures. We also have, for instance, my own community, Abite, on the draft, in one of the words on the draft created to the Ijaws, precisely Benikuku. Benikuku people have corrupted, INEC have corrupted Abite to be Kenya Bene under Benikuku on the draft. And most of the units in that Benikuku, that as it were on the draft, they are all ghost units. Also, let's go to Warri North local government, which have a major four urban towns, like the Cocoa one. You see Ajigbodu there is along the express, very massive place with a highly dense population. Also, the Abigorodo and Obitugbo that has lots of tank farms, business hub. These places were not focused on, and they are the places that reflects the demography, status, the voter strength of the Shekiris in Warri North, in that 6th ward that exists, which of course you can confirm with INEC on INEC portal. But rather, what we see is communities being dragged from Edo State, Ijaw areas in Edo State and Ondo State into Warri North to get these fallacious words that they have created on the drafts.
Okay, sorry. So what's the danger of this? Because I know that INEC there was a press release by INEC on April 10th to talk about the misconception of the delineation and the explanation by the Supreme Court. They say they have had several consultations with the stakeholders in Warri as well. There was also at least 5 consultation meetings since the ruling of the Supreme Court. What is the conversation with INEC on this? Because what we see is that it also seems to stem ethnic uprising between the 3 communities, from the Shekiris, the Ijaws, the Urhobos. What is the conversation with INEC on this? Because again, going beyond the protest and the fight and perhaps the rancouring, what do you hope to achieve? What's next for your people?
INEC, of course, at this moment, I'm sure they know they have hurt. They have perpetrated injustice to the majority stakeholders of the Warri Federal Constituency. Like I mentioned, where Warri has been in existence even before the Niger area, which is Nigeria. And Warri is the home of the Shekiri people. We do not have anywhere else. They have Bomadi, they have Fatani, they even have representation at the House of Representatives from those 2 federal constituencies. This Warri is the only place where we have federal representation, at the Green Chambers, But unfortunately, it's disheartening that INEC is collaborating with our neighbors. For instance, Warri Southwest, where we co-own with the Ijaws politically, and Warri Southwest, you can see the landslide marginalization as expressed on the draft. This brings to mind the cynistic option that the Shekiri might take, because you are about to not only disenfranchise but to marginalize. This has happened before before 1997, 1996 precisely. And there was serious tension, violence. We do not want, the Shekiri are peace-loving people. We do not want that
All right, I think at this juncture we will ask our guests to
happen
hold.
again. But trust me,
Sorry, Emiko.
imagine how can INEC disregard guidelines that the guidelines they brought. They disregarded the guidelines. One of the stipulations on the guideline that you should not have two words. A word so a word must not exist in two local governments. But can you believe they disregarded that guideline and transported two units?
All right, Emiko, you can hold your thoughts. We will get back to you. We're looking at the controversy brewing over INEC's delineation in Warri Federal Constituency in Delta State. The conversation continues after this break. Stay with us.
Regarding INEC's delineation in Warri Federal Constituency and, of course, the issues that have been arising from that. So just in summary, perhaps your final thoughts. What next, for your people, and how do you hope to proceed?
Thank you very much. Like I said, INEC disregarded a lot of things. They disregarded the historical context of Warri Federal Constituency as regard to the ownership of Warri. And two, you cannot build something on nothing. A fresh delineation as ordered by the Supreme Court didn't imply that you go and just do something, whichever way you like. We have 10 ward structure in Warri. That is in Warri South. That's what we expect that they would have built upon. Also, there are wards in Warri Southwest, which, of course, according to the guideline, that no ward should exceed 50 units. We have 60 units wards in Warri Southwest, in the Shekiri area, that never amounted to nothing in spite of the guideline that says no ward should exceed 50 units. Meanwhile, there are 25 unit wards, belonging to the Jaws in Warri Southwest, that's translated into 4 wards. A 60 unit ward also 68 unit ward also translated into 5 wards. So what is the plan? What is the idea behind all of this as perpetrated by INEC? Now, to answer you, going by your question, what next? We want federal government intervention in this matter. The federal government should inaugurate a panel of inquiry to investigate this fraudulent exercise that was perpetrated by INEC. And in that inquiry, they should ensure that the Shekiris are represented, because the earlier one.
All right, that's the immediate past speaker of Warri Southwest Local Government Council, Emiko Odin-Etuwewe, who's been speaking about the controversy brewing over INEC's delineation in Warri Federal Constituency. And Dora, they say he who feels it knows it, but a lot of us, witnessed